We got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the SlooPcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing right, Jared. Doing all right. How are you doing today?
I have a headache. Let's roll with this. Let's do this.
All right, SlooPicks Week 12. Week 12 is here. Let's get into the 6 games here. If you want to listen to our 7th one, where we pick Ohio State and Minnesota, check out Thursday's episode while we do the Know Your Enemies over Jared's Golden Gophers. All right, let's start it off with Michigan and Maryland, Jared. This is a noon game on Fox. Michigan is a 19.5 point favorite in this game, Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah, 19.5 points.
You said you're afraid. You made me think there was a question coming.
Fine, I'll go.
You wanted me to pick? Is that what you were doing?
I did. I was leading it up to you, but you didn't. All right, I'm just going to start us off here. So Maryland, not the offensive powerhouse that we thought they could have been this year. 19.5. They're not going to. They're not going to be able to cover that. So I got Michigan to cover in this game.
Yeah. Through this entire scandal, Michigan has cast themselves, and I believe they believe it, as like the victim through this entire scandal. Somehow they're the victim for being caught. Anyway, but they have fully embraced this victim mentality that they have going on. They believe they have something to prove. And I think whatever this angst is in them right now, I think they're going to fully take it out on Maryland. Michigan by 30.
All right, and Odin here. Odin says Maryland cover, but lose by 14. He has 35-21 in this game. God, if it's that, yeah, I'd be surprised if Maryland put up that many points.
Yeah, I would too.
All right, next game also a nooner, Louisville and Miami. Surprised to see this stat here. Louisville is only a 1.5 point favorite in this game here. Yeah, I got the Cardinals. To cover. Pretty much a pick 'em, so.
It's a near pick 'em at 1.5. You have Louisville, who is a top 10 team with a 9-1 record. Miami just feels like a super mid 6.4 middle of the conference sort of team. Feels like this feels like a setup, I think is what I'm trying to get at. Like, it feels picking Louisville here is so obvious that it feels like a setup. It's obvious. It's too obvious. I'm going to go Hurricanes to win and cover.
Right. And Odin.
Exactly, Zach.
Yeah, Odin is saying the same thing here as you. Louisville doesn't press me. Miami by 7. 24-17. Like, I don't understand why you guys are so high on Miami here.
Like, it's not that we're high on Miami, it's that we don't care about Louisville. I think it's more, it's not like an abundance of Miami or of Louisville respect. It's not an abundance. No, I said it right the first time. It's not an abundance of Miami respect. It's a lack of Louisville respect.
They only put up 6 against NC State. They lost to Georgia Tech. They won by 3 to Virginia. I'm sorry. No. I cannot pick Miami. Sorry. Hey, Louisville wins by a field goal. That's a cover. All right, next game here, 3:30. You got Georgia and Tennessee. 3:30 kickoff. Georgia is a 10.5 point favorite. Why is Tennessee still ranked? What have they done to?
Beat
what have they done? Okay, who hasn't? Who hasn't?
Yeah, Zach,
they were a no-show against Missouri.
Yeah,
he lost by almost 30 points to Missouri.
Yeah,
they were pretty non-competitive against Alabama. They lost to Florida.
Yeah,
they
Spike's
lost to Florida
that
pretty
out
bad.
Hey, Jared, actually, no, they didn't beat Florida.
You're right. Yes, they did lose to Florida too. Their best victory, Jared. I'm looking here. Who is their best win?
You're
Virginia?
looking at the schedule. Oh, don't
Virginia?
Don't tell me it's Virginia. Don't tell me it's Virginia.
Texas A&M.
I'm sorry, Texas A&M, who still has their head coach. Oh no, wait.
Yeah. Okay, I guess Kentucky. I guess Kentucky's their best win.
Yeah, it would be Kentucky.
Yeah, Georgia to cover.
Okay. Yeah. First thing I wrote here, Kyle. Tennessee has been regularly rated all year. Literally the first thing I wrote. Georgia, on the other hand, seems to be peaking. They seem to be catching momentum and peaking at the right time. Their offense appears to actually be functional, which is saying something compared to where it was at the beginning of the season. Georgia has been terrible against the spread, however, this year. The exception to that, however, when they're playing a team with an actual pulse, which is an actual metric and an actual statistic that you can look up, a team with a pulse. No, it's not. They're 3-1 against the spread. So they weren't covering big spreads early against crappy teams. They started to play good teams later. They started covering the spread. Georgia wins by at least 17.
All right.
And for the record, when I say at least 17, I mean at least 17. I would put, if I had to put money on, if I were putting the spread on this game, I would have put it like 24.5.
Right, and Odin has Georgia to cover as well. He has Georgia to win by 21. That sounds about right. What I'm thinking, like they win by like 20 points or something.
Zach says, hot take, we'd beat Georgia. We could beat Georgia.
Everybody's beatable.
I won't say we would or will beat Georgia, but we could beat Georgia. We can beat Georgia. I don't think we'd be at 50%. Or better. But I'm just very worried about our ability to stop the run right now, and I don't feel like we match up well against Georgia.
Yep. All right. Next up is Georgia.
Weirdly,
Georgia.
I'd rather play
Bama.
That. I feel like we match up better against Bama.
All right. Oregon and Arizona State. 4:00 on Fox. Oregon is a 22.5 point favorite in this game. And that's not enough. Oregon is just gonna run away with this one. I got the Ducks to cover. I think they could win by like 35 plus in this game. Which they may, because right now they're needing some style points right now, and to win out and to beat Washington in the conference championship game too. So they're in hey, we need some style points mode right now.
I think they're winning in. they should. I think if they win the Pac-12, they're in, because
so I want to save that to the end of this here. There's
That's fair. That's a good call. Down in the chat, Woody says only team in the top 10 that concerns me would be Oregon. Well, Woody,
Georgia does.
The first thing I wrote in my pick was everyone in the country is hoping Oregon doesn't make the playoffs. So you and I are pretty aligned with that thought process. But despite their loss, they control their own destiny. 22.5 is a big number, but Oregon's score differential average is about 26 points per game. Give me the Ducks. Bo Nix in year 12 could win the CFP. Wild to think about.
All right. Odin says Oregon wins by 49. They look so dominant. I'd be surprised if they don't win out like 52-3.
There you go.
All right. Next game here, Washington and Oregon State, a battle of top 10. I think Oregon State finished up as a top 10 in the latest rankings here. I forget where they ranked.
They did in the
Oregon
AP.
State is 11th. They are 11th, almost.
AP
almost.
put them 10.
Yeah, they did. Let's see here. Washington is a half-point underdog, so it's a pick 'em. It's a pick 'em here.
Yeah.
Who you got, Jared?
Oregon State has a really unique opportunity both this week and next to play some not just play the spoiler. I think a lot of people might frame it as to play the spoiler, but they have the opportunity still to win the Pac-12. They play Washington this week, obviously. That's the game we're picking, and they play Oregon next week.
They still need a lot of help, because Washington right now Washington's undefeated.
Right.
Oregon State has 2 losses. So if they lose, they have a chance to
play Oregon.
Yep, they play Oregon. If they win, if Oregon State
they win the next 2 weeks, Kyle, they give Washington their first conference loss. They give Oregon their second conference loss. They would not just make the conference championship game, but be the home seed in it.
How crazy would that be?
Well, and like I said, in order to do that, they have to beat Washington this week and Oregon next week. So,
when Washington needs to lose back-to-back weeks too, then, which they're not going to. Washington plays Washington State.
Oh yeah,
at the end of the year.
Yeah, my mistake. I thought Oregon State's other loss was out of conference. That's my mistake. So they wouldn't be number 1 seed. They wouldn't be home seed in the championship game, but they still would make the championship game. Anyway,
a lot of chaos that can happen.
A lot of golf left. Oregon State has Oregon State's been much better against the spread this year, but does that compared to Washington, but does that even matter in this case when it's basically a pick 'em? Does against the spread metrics and numbers and records really matter when it's basically a pick 'em? I think Washington too often this year has been cutting it too close. I think they've been cutting it too close for too long. Their day comes on Saturday. I was about to say Oregon State to win and cover, but it's one and the same in this particular case. So Oregon State to win.
You know, I have my doubts in this game here of who to pick. I have some doubts on who's going to win this game, but what's one of our rules, Jared? When in doubt,
pick the quarterback.
Pick the quarterback, and I'm going to go and I'm picking Penix here. So I'm going to pick the Huskies in this one.
All right. What's Odin say?
Washington, Oregon won't be as exciting as we may think. Amazing the spread is a half point. No way I will be 20 on it that Washington wins by.
He forgot the T. I think it's supposed to be bet 20.
Okay. No way I will bet 20 on it that Washington wins by 17. He has 27-10 Washington.
All right. Before we move on to our sixth pick, I just want to congratulate the both of us for making it all the way through there without making a Penix/Beaver joke. So just congratulations to us. We're clearly getting older. Next and last game.
All right, last game here is Texas and Iowa State. Ooh, now I see why Jared's going for this game here. Texas is a 7.5 point favorite in this game.
Kyle,
here.
I picked this game because the pickings were slim.
The pickings are slim, but don't look away here. If Iowa State wins this game, they have a real shot at making it to the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah. If they win.
There are so you got Texas at the top.
Zach just says,
Texas
wow, Big 12 is shit. Yeah.
You got Texas, you got Texas at the very top, 6-1 in conference.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Iowa State, Kansas State, all 5-2. Now Iowa State did lose to Oregon, or not Oregon, did lose to Oklahoma, but did beat Oklahoma State.
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think you said it best. Yeah, wow. The Big 12 is shit this year. I got Iowa State to cover.
It's worth noting.
I got Iowa State to cover. I think this is one of those games where we typically see Iowa State giving a top tier team some troubles, and I think this is that game. It is at Iowa State.
I think that
it is a night. It is a night game. It is a night game here. I think the Cyclones are going to have some magic here and keep it real close. So I got Iowa State to cover at least.
Okay. Iowa State beat Oklahoma State, but that was the beginning half of the year for Oklahoma State, back when they were awful, and not the middle part of the year where they were pretty good. And now, based on last week at least, I think we're moving back into another awful phase. But they didn't play them in the good Oklahoma State phase. Let's take that for what it's worth. But the only other top teams they played this year, meaning Iowa State, are Oklahoma and Kansas, where they lost by 30-7. The really truly comparable team here is Texas, and they lost that game by 30. Using that as a bit of a metric, I'm gonna go Texas here to win and cover. Also, let me throw this in just because we're here. Quinn Ewers returning for Texas next year. 90% sure.
He's returning. If he's returning next year, you're going to see a transfer of Manning out of there. Manning's going to be gone.
I don't know if this is copium or not.
Gone.
I don't know if this is copium or not. But I did read some Texas people saying that the plan was always for Arch to start in year 3, and that the quarterback who's been playing in Ewers' stead when he was hurt was supposed to be the quarterback next year. Anyway, this is from a Texas fan after the news that Quinn Ewers. So it might be copium is all I'm saying. I don't know. Arch Manning, transfer? Question mark.
Yeah, keep an eye on
I'll
that.
say the one thing that makes it at least slightly believable, and I've said this on the podcast before. Archie Manning played very small high school football. He did not play against the best high school competition. And therefore it was understood. It was understood that he was not going to be a quick to start guy. Now, that to me meant he wasn't going to play as a freshman. Not that he would sit for 2 years, but I guess we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. All right. And Odin says here he has Texas winning 30-17. Iowa State don't impress me that much. About did a Shania Twain there.
Yeah.
Kansas looked bad, yet they still dominated them. So I can't see this game being close outside the first quarter.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. I think that's almost the show, Kyle. But before we do that, you wanted to talk about. I started talking about playoff stuff, and then you blocked me. So, where's your head at on that? As far as I was saying, Oregon controls their destiny in.
So we're 3 weeks away from the final rankings being announced. We're 3 weeks away.
Yeah. A lot of chaos.
There was a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk about, Big Ten could have 2 teams making it in.
SEC.
The SEC. The SEC.
We talked about this pretty extensively on Tuesday.
But with the rankings coming out, Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, and Florida State 4. Scenario wise.
Yeah.
Let's just Ohio State. Let's just say Ohio State or Michigan wins out. They're in.
Big Ten champion. And are we just going to assume that they beat Iowa?
Yes.
Okay. Big Ten champion.
Winner. SEC champion in Georgia or Alabama in 2 spots. Okay.
Okay. Let's for the sake of simplicity, let's not even entertain an Iron Bowl upset.
Yes. Let's just say they win out. Alabama or Georgia wins the SEC championship game. One of those are in. Florida State runs the table, wins the ACC undefeated. They're in. The winner of Washington and Oregon,
assuming they win out,
is in.
Right. I agree.
There is no second Big Ten. There is no second SEC.
Sure. But we're playing and we do this every year, and this is another thing we talked about on Tuesday. We do this every year. If this team wins out, if that team wins out, it's like for the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season, we just all forget the team chaos is looming and waiting for all of us all the time. That death is coming for all of us. All right. Chaos is coming. Listen, do I think that there's exactly, Zach? Do I think that there's much of a chance that Tennessee beats Georgia? No, I honestly don't. But it could happen. Do I think that there's much of a chance that Auburn beats Bama in the Iron Bowl? Not really. But it could happen. Maybe Maryland upsets Michigan this week. Does that sound absurd? Sure does. I've seen crazier shit. Michigan almost lost to Bowling Green until they went into half, figured out what the signals were, and fixed it. We keep gifting these teams wins. Oregon State, I'm going to say this. Oregon State, if they don't pull an upset this week, they probably do it next week. I feel like Oregon State wins one of these 2 games. Oregon State's good enough. They can give them 2 chances. Why not 2 for 2? I said at least, and if I didn't said at least, pretend that I did. Make things messy. Oh, that would be some. I mean, we still wouldn't be like 2007 messy, but it's still that'd make things pretty messy. But really, what it would do is just knock the Pac-12 out of the playoffs. It actually kind of clean things up. But then not really. The cleanest thing would just be to put 4 conference champions in. Anyway, I get what you're saying, Kyle, but we need to stop gifting teams wins.
All right, that's fair.
By the way, Louisville could beat Florida. Louisville could beat Florida State in the ACC championship game. That's just another one to throw out there. You think it's ridiculous that Iowa particularly upset Michigan? I feel like from a matchup standpoint, that feels more likely than Iowa upsetting Ohio State, just based off of matchups. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of chaos waiting for us. And if we knew it was coming, it wouldn't be chaos. That's what makes chaos chaos. It's not, we don't call it chaos when a undefeated team beats another undefeated team. We call it chaos when a 6-4 team knocks out a top 10 team. That's my point. Unless it's Kentucky. Well, Kentucky's Kentucky.
All right. The other thing I want to talk about, since we have some time here, America's team, Jared.
Is this the thing you wanted to talk about at the end of last episode?
Yes, it is. Yes,
America's team.
Let's talk about everything that happened over the weekend here, since we didn't really talk about it in Monday or Tuesday's episode, just because.
I'm sorry, what are the Cowboys? Why are we talking about the Cowboys?
Yes. Or the Yankees. The Yankees? We're talking about baseball, Jared?
Talking about baseball? Talking about practice?
The
Lakers. By the way, it's Notre Dame. Like, I'm just gonna say this. If there is an quote unquote America's team in college football, it's Notre Dame. Because we all know that one guy who likes the Cowboys, the Yankees, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and either the Lakers or the Celtics. Duke basketball. Yeah, they have a different favorite team for college football and college basketball. That person's a Notre Dame fan. Yeah, probably Man U. Arsenal, sure, but almost certainly Man U.
Yeah, definitely Man U. Well, I mean, if
it could be Arsenal.
If you have people that's being introduced to European soccer or football right now, it's Manchester City. Like that's the hot team right now.
Yeah. Man City in opposing territory, Spike says.
So Harbaugh here, 3 game suspension, or three games that he can't come onto the sideline here.
Yeah.
Suspended for the second time this year.
It's got to be a record.
Second time this year.
It's got to be a record.
I think I've seen this float around. I think I've seen this float around a lot, though, Jared. He has more suspensions, or number of times he's been suspended, than he does bowl wins.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been suspended more times this season.
This is only the beginning. Honestly, this has to be just the beginning. Like, of all the evidence that the NCAA showed the Big Ten, Big Ten says, yeah, this is a big deal, especially since this is still happening this year. They had to do something right now. And 3 games of game day suspension, I thought was, in my opinion, I think a slap on the wrist. Honestly, I think they could have gone a lot worse.
That's just the Big Ten, though.
It is just the Big Ten, though.
That's just the Big Ten. The Big Ten. Here's what you have to remember. The commissioner of the Big Ten is using the powers given to him by the universities for him to punish the universities. Did everyone follow that? He's using the limitations given by the schools that he has to punish the schools. Meaning he doesn't own a hammer. It's not that he owns a hammer and chose not to hit Michigan with it. He doesn't own a hammer. I think the worst thing he could do is I think he technically has the ability to TV ban him, but that sure as shit is never happening.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
I saw something that he got the approval from the board to do the suspension. So it wasn't just from the commissioner. Like he got the approval from the board to do that as well.
I understand that, but even his power. No. I totally get that. Even his powers to punish the teams with the board's support, it's still somewhat limited compared to what the NCAA can do. The NCAA, and by the way, let's just say, I don't 100% remember all the Big Ten rules for this. Let's say that he does have the ability to postseason ban Michigan. Well, guess what? That's costing everybody money. That's pissing off Fox. It actually probably wouldn't piss off Fox. Fox doesn't care about the playoffs this year. But it would, and you just get Ohio State instead in the Big Ten championship game, which is just as good, if not better, TV wise. But he's not going to do anything that cost other members money. And fucking with Fox is part of that. So, no TV bans, there's only so much he can do, either by the rules or by the other follow-up consequences that come from it. The hammer, this is, sometimes you get the immediate punishment and then the long-term punishment. The immediate result, get a little bit of a bonus up front, but the rest of the paycheck's coming later.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a signing bonus. The paycheck is still coming. The NCAA is the one with the hammer.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk, and mainly it's just Michigan fans. It's just Michigan fans and the people at the university too, where they're like, "Oh, it's not a big deal," or "Everybody does this," or "There's no evidence. Nobody's presented evidence and all that." Like, it's like everybody wanted Ohio State to be punished with the whole Jim Tressel lying to the NCAA.
Sure.
Like the accusations here, and if what the NCAA is saying that they have proof here, and when they're ready to present it, and definitely shows that the university and or Harbaugh knew of this and lied about it.
He doesn't have to know about it.
It is far worse than Tressel lying about improper benefits from a few athletes. Well, they won't get the death penalty. The death penalty will never happen. Michigan they already lied to the Big Ten. There's a number of times already, like in the Big Ten statements, saying, pretty much saying when Michigan's like, "Oh, we've never seen this," or we never got this kind of notice, and Big Ten's like, "Shut your mouth." Yeah, you did. Look back at our previous statement here. You guys didn't even bother looking at it.
First off, I don't care what Michigan fans have to say. They're reacting. Their team is being attacked. They're defending their team. That's Ohio State fans, I would say, would do the same, but have done the same. Continue to do the same. That's fine. And they're going to be like, oh, well, there's no evidence, which is just, it's a thing you see whenever it comes to anything that has to do with legal stuff and public stuff, that just because the evidence isn't out there and publicly available, that means it doesn't exist. It's a thing you see in discourse all the time. If I haven't seen the evidence, or if I don't understand the evidence, then the evidence doesn't exist. It's just a thing you see in online discourse. It's just people grasping at straws. It's people being stupid. That's all I have to say about Michigan fans. I don't like playing the compare game as far as it was, Tatgate and this, because on one hand they're very comparable, and on another hand they're not. And I would say, and I don't know if Ohio State fans will like this, the primary difference between Tatgate and Spygate 2, Electric Boogaloo, is that this went on for 2.5 years, whereas Ohio State's quote unquote crimes took place over the course of one season. That's the primary difference, in my opinion, because in both cases, what you have is a coach intentionally cheating, knowingly cheating to win. That's why I say that they're comparable. Tatgate and Spygate 2, Electric Boogaloo, are comparable simply because it involves a coach cheating, knowingly cheating, and lying in order to win.
This is so much worse because this is so much worse because you're taking advantage. You're stealing signs to give yourself an advantage.
And Jim Tressel played players who weren't allowed to be out there in order to have an advantage.
But that's just a few players versus knowing the actual plays.
Kyle, you saw the drop off from Pryor to Beckman. It was just a few players, me.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Don't. Also, Devere Posey, also Boom Heron, also Mike Adams, who was our second best offensive tackle on that team. Bowserman, yes. Don't. In the broadest strokes, you have a head coach knowingly cheating in order to win football games. The primary difference is the length in which this took place. Jim Tressel's responsible for cheating during an entire season. Harbaugh and Spygate 2, Electric Boogaloo, is over 2.5 seasons. You're grasping at equal length straws. Thank you, Duncan. I'm not even 100% sure what that means, but it made me laugh.
But bottom line, NCAA tends to take a long time for these things. So,
well,
we'll see how long it really takes NCAA to.
I think
to present.
Okay, so first off, not this year, but also faster than you're expecting. So, one of the things I like to remind people, Harbaugh was suspended for the first 3 games of this season because of things he did in the year 2020. Just to give you an indication of how long these things normally take. Now, do I think this is going to take 3 years? No, I don't. Why? Well, because other people have gathered evidence for the NCAA. Like the investigation was completed, or not completed, but at least taken to the goal line by other parties. So a lot of the work's been done. It's one of the reasons why I have a bit of hope that, you could see this resolved during this off season. I think
everybody everybody other than Michigan fans is hoping that. Like it's like the whole thing. What
I would hope
Harbaugh
for it
said
if
is
I
like,
was an listen. We said
like
this.
the whole thing that Harbaugh said here. It's like he's in a total different universe. He's like, we're America's team. Like America likes this and
Can I say something in Harbaugh's
America doesn't like cheaters. America doesn't like people who lie. Just stop. Just stop. You're playing the victim. You're being the victim there.
I don't agree with either of those points, but whatever.
Well, we're not a political channel here. Jared,
people could interpret that to either side and be right. So no,
yes,
this isn't
correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Lobby time? No, we're still recording, believe it or not, Suncard.
But yeah, it's.
But listen, can I give Harbaugh credit for something?
He's living in his own universe.
Can I give Harbaugh credit for something?
No, you can't. No, you can't, Jared.
He reversed his opinion on a chicken being a nervous bird. I don't know what that means exactly, but he did. Apparently he has chickens too, Duncan. Or he's at least had exposure to chickens or something. I don't know. He's very hard to listen to. I'm just saying chicken exposure. He's had chicken exposure. Apparently when you walk around with hot dogs in your pocket, it attracts chickens. Is that a way to say people snitched? No. I mean, it could be. I didn't intend it that way. But it could be. I mean, the world is yours, man. All right, Kyle. Anything else you want to say about Michigan? Is Harbaugh that deep? Or Harbaugh isn't that deep? Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good way of saying it.
Was Ryan Day involved? I wish.
With the chickens, with the hot dogs, with what part of the last 5 minutes are you referring to?
No to those, Jared.
All right, Kyle, are we done here? We talked about the playoffs. We talked about Harbaugh. We did our 6 picks.
What's your chaos pick here? Like, is there a team here that's unranked that could beat a ranked team?
I already kind of made it. It's Miami. Miami's beating Louisville.
What are some other games here? Just going down the list. Maryland beating Michigan?
No.
Rutgers beating Penn State? What makes you think?
Nah, not really.
For Ohio State's sake, no.
They beat both those teams.
Let's see. Well, Illinois beat Iowa.
I mean, I'm not going to say no to that. Only thing Illinois really has to do to win that game is score like 3 touchdowns.
Clemson over North Carolina.
I guess that technically counts as chaos. Where's North Carolina ranked now? Like 20 something?
20th.
Okay.
Houston over Oklahoma State. I'm gonna pass on that one. Florida over Missouri. No.
I don't think so.
Keep an eye out for Iowa
It's not
State
ridiculous, but I don't think
Iowa State. Keep an eye out Iowa State versus Texas. That one could be a potential close game.
That could happen.
Mm-hmm. So just because of how low scoring they typically are here, and how well this other team's playing, I'm gonna go with the Fighting Birds. I'll go with the Fighting Birds on this one.
For everyone playing at home, he's saying that Illinois will upset Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
That's For those of you who are not super into college football, deep minutia lore, that's him picking Illinois to beat Iowa. Will Kyle get his punt return this week? Kyle?
No.
Apparently no. Apparently the answer is no.
Can Ohio State get a punt return that's more than 10 yards?
They got 11 last week.
They did get 11 last week.
I don't think that was cumulative either. I think it was just the one.
And cumulative.
It may have been the only return. If I don't remember, to be honest.
I think I think we can call that an episode there. I think we had enough fun at the end here.
I think we covered all the bases plus several other bases. So, Kyle, was there anything?
Yes, Jared. It was a total of 11 yards.
But it was one return, right?
It was, yes.
Okay. Yes, shenanigans. We're into shenanigans territory. Y'all are going to be so happy when I bring back the shenanigans episode in January. I swear to God. Oh, by the way, I'm bringing back shenanigans episode in January. Yeah, that's it. Kyle, is there anything? Could there be anything left in Kyle's corner? I feel like it's empty at this point. I feel like you've emptied the corner.
I did. Yeah, there is nothing over here.
There's a chair.
There is a chair there.
There's a chair there. Sorry.
There's a chair.
All right, that's it. That's the end of the episode. Join the Discord server or don't. I'm not your mother. That's it. That's the plug. Tonight's ending music is Pray for Sleep, which I am doing in my head right now. The name of the band, once again, Pray for Sleep. So with all that being said, I would like everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Pray for Sleep.